Hello and welcome again, darts fans. It is that time of the week where I, Dan Dawson, working with the sportsman, talk you through what you can expect in this week's Premier League Darts. Now, we're in Berlin this week on Thursday night, and it's going to be massive. Thousands of German fans coming out to watch the Premier League for the second year they've had it there. It's a country where the game has exploded, and look, I wanted to do something German themed for this, but unfortunately I live in Birmingham. But I have come to here, Victoria Square in Birmingham, home of the biggest German Christmas market in the country. Honestly, you came here in December, it'd be bratwurst and steins of beer and glühwein and all kinds of stuff, but we're in March, so there's none of that. But look, I live in Birmingham, not Bavaria. There's not much I can do. However, we did do some serious business last week in Nottingham, where we had 5 games and we got 4 of them right, denied in the last game. It was nearly a big 40-1 acca that came in, but we said that Smith would beat Aspinall at even money. We said Suljovic would beat Wade at 2-1, Cross to beat Barney with a 2.5 leg minus with the handicap for Rob Cross at 5-6. That came in, and Michael van Gerwen beat Gerwyn Price at 4-9. The only one that let us down, Daryl Gurney to beat Peter Wright. That ended up in a draw, so very, very close to big money. As for this time around, well, we're going to try and make even bigger money, because I think this is a very, very difficult week of action to call. It's a difficult league in general. We've got 2 guys tied at the top of the table on 9 points, but it's only 4 points down to Daryl Gurney, who's pretty much fighting off relegation or elimination. So look, anything can happen over the next couple of weeks, and it does make it very, very difficult to say who's going to come out on top. And looking at the games this week, I think they're particularly close. I actually think this could be the night of 1,000 draws. Let's start with the first game. And this is the one where I think we are going to see a definitive result. It is Gerwyn Price, who was unbeaten until he faced MVG last time out. He's 6-4, 6-5 for Rob Cross, and that's going to be a theme. You're going to see very, very tight odds over the course of this night. 10-3 the draw. Now, look, Gerwyn is 5th in the table. He's had too many draws. He could have picked up more points. He's been one of the best players this year, without a doubt. Already picked up a couple of titles. But Rob Cross, despite not picking up titles, sits 2nd in the league. He is hitting bigger averages than pretty much anybody on a more consistent basis, and I just think that he is playing better than Gerwyn Price right now. I believe that you back Rob Cross at 6-5. Last time when they met in the Premier League last year, it was a 7-1 victory to Rob Cross. I don't think we're going to see that margin of victory, but I do fancy Voltage to come through and take the win. You can get that at 6-5. Now, every other game tonight, I'm tempted to back as a draw. I genuinely think it is that close. James Wade and Peter Wright. Now, the head-to-head stats: 35 meetings, 18 wins for Wade, 17 wins for Wright. He's inconsistent, Peter Wright, and we're seeing this. He's lost 8 of his last 15 games in all competitions. He did beat Wade a couple of times in back-to-back semi-finals on the Euro Tour last year, but he's lost the last couple, including one this year in the Masters, which Wade just nicked by 11 legs to 9. He's hit 19 180s in the league. Peter Wright has hit 18. It's only Michael Smith who scored more 180s than James Wade, and that is why, when you're looking at draws, it's a very, very dangerous bet to go for. It only takes one little slip, one leg either way, and suddenly that draw is blown out of the way. So maybe don't look at backing the draw. Maybe you look at the other markets, the 180s and the checkout markets in this game. Now, the way it's priced up with Bet Victor, 5.5 180s, more than 5.5 is 10-11, and with the amount that they've hit between them, I think that's a pretty good bet, even though Peter Wright is inconsistent. And if you look at the checkout, it's over 119.5, and that's vital. A lot of places will price it up as over 120.5 checkout. Now, 121 checkout, you might have to use the bullseye, but a 120 checkout, it's just treble 20, single 20, double top. And I fancy that we're going to see that, particularly if a game which I think is going to be close, we're going to get 11, 12 legs out of this match. I think you're going to see 6 180s hit between them, and you're going to see 120 checkout or higher. 10-11 for the 180s bet, 5-6 for the checkout bet. As for Michael van Gerwen versus Daryl Gurney, now MVG, he ended up averaging 96 against Gerwyn Price. For anybody else last week, that would have been a solid display, but he did not look himself. He's had some personal problems. He didn't play at the weekend. The nature of those personal problems haven't been made public, but he's evidently going through a tough time at the minute, MVG. I do not know how much effort and practice he's put in preparation for his clash with Daryl Gurney, who he does beat most of the time. He had a run, incredible, 13 consecutive wins, but that came to an end last year when he lost in the Players' Championship finals, because Daryl Gurney, who was my outside pick to go and make the playoffs and maybe even win this title at the start of the year, he does have it in him to beat MVG in big stage, high stakes games. He beat him in Minehead just before the World Championship, beat him 11-9 as well. Now he did get a draw against MVG in the Premier League last year too. I just think that maybe it could be another draw, but like when we backed Wade to beat MVG, and it happened, I really like the handicap market on this. The bookies will give Daryl Gurney 3.5 legs, so as long as he gets 4 legs on the board, you can back him at 5-6. It's 13-2 for him to beat him outright. I don't fancy that, I think it's too much. 11-2 the draw is very, very tempting, but I just think the smart bet, 5-6, Daryl Gurney plus 3.5 legs. Michael Smith and Mensur Suljovic, and then Max Hopp versus Raymond van Barneveld. They're the next 2 games to round off the night. And again, you can look at 3-1 for the draw between Michael Smith and Mensur Suljovic. Mensur has a better head-to-head record against the bully boy. However, they haven't met since Michael Smith became the Premier League finalist last year and the world finalist. But Mensur, look what he did last week. He took out the table topper James Wade. I genuinely think that he's going to put up a real fight against Michael Smith, a man he knows how to beat. Again, the draw is a very, very difficult thing to back, so why not look at the same bets? We can look at the 180s market and the checkout market. 119.5 is the checkout bar, again, that they've got to beat. And Mensur Suljovic, he can do that standing on his head. Michael Smith is certainly capable of doing that. It's the 180s. You've got to get an extra 180 in this game. They're looking at 7 or more, so over 6.5. Now, if you're on the 180s, it's 6-5 for them to score 7 180s between them. But then again, these two are in the top 4 on the tour this year for how regularly they hit maximums. Michael Smith and Mensur Suljovic are smashing in the 180s. I think they can beat that, admittedly, quite high bar of 7. I think they can go and do it, and I certainly think we're going to see another checkout of 120 or more in that game. So 65 on the 180s, 5-6 on the checkout market. With Max Hopp and Raymond van Barneveld, I'm in the same position. I think Max Hopp, who won 2 PDC titles last year, is a phenomenal talent, and he will have the backing of thousands of German fans in Berlin. But Raymond van Barneveld, who was looking like he was just coasting to defeat after defeat after defeat in this Premier League season, there were signs of life at the weekend. He made his first Pro Tour final in 4 years. It has been a long, long wait for Barney to do it on the main tour, but he did it, and he was only beaten by Adrian Lewis in the final on Sunday. Is that a sign that Barney has got the determination and the desire and the fight to make this happen in his final Premier League campaign before retirement, or is it just the final death throes in this great, great career of the 5-time world champion? I don't know, but when we've seen Max Hopp play on the tour this year, he actually has played pretty well. He's averaging more than 96 over his games on the tour this year. He's going up against Barney, who was his idol. The first set of darts Max Hopp ever got were Raymond van Barneveld darts. It is so tough to call. 11-8 for the pair of them with the bookies, 3-1 the draw. But once again, I'm looking at the 180s and the checkout market. They've got to hit over 5.5 180s, that's 10-11, and they've got to hit a checkout of 120 or more, that's 5-6. I do think there's going to be a lot of draws in Berlin on Thursday night, but it's so difficult to back all of them. In fact, if you wanted to back Rob Cross to win and then 4 draws, you're looking at an accumulator of 990-1. Now that's exciting, don't get me wrong, I love a small stake, massive odds bet, but it does kind of show how unlikely it is for all of them to come in. I quite fancy that this could be a night of draws, a night of massive noise from the German crowd in that Berlin arena. It is an incredible venue. I think Max Hopp is going to be another contender this year, stepping in for the injured Gary Anderson, who is going to put on a show. He could beat Barney. He's certainly going to put up a fight. I think we could make a lot of money on this one, and I will certainly be raising a stein of beer if the 990 to 1 shot comes in. Whew, Achtung, we're having a party.